most people have it backward. They think it's the loudest man who commands attention, the one who walks in with a sharp jawline, a flashy watch, or the kind of money that fills a room before he even speaks. But what they don't realize is that those things fade fast. A loud man might get noticed, but he rarely gets remembered. The one who leaves a mark, the one a woman keeps thinking about long after he's gone, is the man who stays still when the world starts shaking. There's something ancient, almost primal, about that kind of composure. When everyone else is reacting, panicking, or trying to prove themselves, the calm man simply is. He doesn't rush to fill the silence or explain himself. He doesn't compete with the noise around him. He becomes the silence that others feel drawn to. It's not that he doesn't feel fear or pressure. It's that he's learned to sit inside it without losing his balance. That stillness doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from control. From the quiet confidence of someone who knows that storms pass, but real strength doesn't. Women sense it even before they understand it. Her instincts recognize something steady, something safe, something she can trust without words. Because calm isn't weakness, it's leadership. It's the ability to hold your ground when everything else moves. And that's why calm men stand out in a world full of noise. They don't demand attention, they attract it. They don't chase energy, they create it. When you stay still in chaos, you remind people, especially women, that power doesn't have to shout. It can whisper. It can breathe. It can simply be. That kind of calm doesn't just impress, it changes the entire atmosphere around you. When chaos hits, most people lose their center. They raise their voices, scramble for control, or rush to fix what they don't even understand yet. Panic spreads fast because most people never learned how to breathe through uncertainty. But the calm man moves differently. He doesn't let the moment control him, he controls the moment. When everyone else is reacting, he observes. He slows time down, almost as if he bends the noise into stillness. That's his power. He doesn't waste energy fighting what's happening, he channels it into clarity. The calm man doesn't need to shout to be heard. His presence itself becomes instruction. In a heated room, people start to mirror his energy without even realizing it. They begin to speak softer, think clearer, breathe deeper. A woman watching him in that state feels something shift in her body, an unspoken sense of safety. She may not understand why, but her instincts recognize leadership. Because true leadership isn't about control over others, it's about control over self. When a man can stay grounded under pressure, when he refuses to be moved by fear or frustration, he becomes magnetic. People look to him naturally, not because he demands authority, but because he embodies it. His calm steadies others, his silence restores order. It's not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. He feels everything, but he's ruled by nothing. And that composure builds unshakable trust. The world will always test a man's patience, his strength, his peace. But the one who can slow the storm instead of being swallowed by it, who can turn pressure into presence, becomes the anchor everyone needs when everything else starts to drift. In a world obsessed with validation, most people are caught chasing approval like it's oxygen. They need likes, comments, reassurance, attention, anything to remind them they matter. But a calm man operates on a completely different frequency. He doesn't beg to be seen or validated because he already knows his worth. His validation comes from the life he's built, the discipline he practices, the silence he's learned to be comfortable in. While others scroll endlessly for external proof of importance, he stands still in self-respect. That quiet assurance is what separates him. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. When a man knows who he is, he doesn't need the world to confirm it. And that energy, that grounded confidence, is what draws people in without him trying. When a calm man speaks, his words carry weight not because they're loud, but because they come from depth. He doesn't talk to impress, he talks with purpose. A woman senses the difference immediately. She can feel when a man's calm is real, when it's not performance, but presence. She tests him with emotion, with silence, with uncertainty, and he doesn't flinch. That's when curiosity turns into attraction. Because his peace tells her something no words could, this man isn't trying to win me, he's already whole. That kind of energy is irresistible. It's the difference between wanting someone and respecting them. His calm becomes magnetic because it's rare. In a society where everyone's chasing validation, the man who doesn't need it becomes the source of it. He sets the tone. He creates the standard. And without saying a word, he teaches everyone around him that true confidence doesn't come from being seen, it comes from being certain. We live in a time where noise is constant. Everyone is talking, posting, arguing, explaining, trying to fill the silence because silence makes them uncomfortable. But a calm man understands that silence isn't emptiness, it's power. He knows that words are cheap when they're thrown without thought. So he uses his silence like a weapon, not to punish but to observe. When he's quiet, people start revealing themselves. They rush to fill the space he leaves open, and in doing so, they expose their fears, their insecurities, their true motives. A calm man doesn't interrupt that process, he listens. He lets people speak until their truth surfaces. Especially in relationships, silence becomes his strength. When emotions rise, when a woman throws frustration, sarcasm, or tests his patience, he doesn't react. He breathes. He allows the moment to pass through him without losing his ground. That restraint tells her something deeper than any argument ever could. It tells her that he's not controlled by her moods or her words, he's anchored in his own. That kind of control isn't coldness, it's emotional maturity. It's the mark of a man who feels deeply but isn't ruled by what he feels. His silence commands respect because it comes from understanding, not avoidance. When he finally chooses to speak, his words hit harder, not because they're rehearsed, but because they're rare. People listen because they know he doesn't waste them. Silence turns into gravity, drawing others closer. And for a woman, that kind of presence is intoxicating. It's mystery, safety, and strength all at once. In a world full of noise, the calm man's silence becomes a mirror, reflecting who others truly are. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it unforgettable. Attraction is often misunderstood. People think it's all about excitement, drama, and passion that burns bright and fast. But true attraction, the kind that lasts, is rooted in safety. A calm man understands this instinctively. His energy doesn't demand attention, it invites peace. When a woman is around a man who doesn't get rattled, who doesn't lose himself in chaos, something inside her relaxes. Her defenses drop. Her body softens. She feels like she can finally exhale. That feeling is rare in a world where most people are emotionally unpredictable. Calm men make safety look effortless, but it's not. It's a skill built through patience, through knowing themselves so deeply that no one else can easily unbalance them. That's what makes a woman lean in. She might flirt with chaos, but she falls for calm, because calm feels like home. When she senses that your peace is unshakable, she starts to trust it. And trust is what creates real connection, not loud promises, not constant attention, but consistency. The calm man doesn't need to impress her with grand gestures. His presence speaks louder than anything he could say. It tells her, you're safe here. And when a woman feels safe, she opens up in ways she never does around instability. Her laughter changes, her eyes soften, and her guard fades away. That's when real intimacy begins, not when you chase her, but when your energy tells her she doesn't need to run. Calm turns safety into something magnetic, something deeply attractive. It's not about being boring or detached, it's about creating peace in a world that thrives on tension. And once she feels that peace with you, nothing else compares. Calm becomes the most seductive force in the room. When conflict appears, most people's first instinct is to react. They raise their voices, defend their ego, and rush to win the argument instead of understanding what's really being said. But a calm man plays by different rules. He doesn't argue to prove he's right, he observes to understand what matters. When someone tries to provoke him, especially in relationships, he recognizes the pattern instantly. He knows that not every confrontation is about truth, sometimes, it's about emotion searching for stability. So instead of feeding the fire, he lets it burn out on its own. His stillness disarms chaos. A woman testing his patience isn't looking for weakness, she's unconsciously looking for grounding, for proof that he won't lose himself when things get hard. And when he doesn't react, when he holds his composure instead of throwing words like weapons, she feels that strength. He shows that he can handle pressure without breaking, That's real power, not the kind that dominates others, but the kind that dominates self. He doesn't let emotion pull him in random directions. He chooses his words carefully, only speaking when silence no longer serves purpose. And when he finally does speak, his voice carries authority because it's backed by control. The calm man knows that emotion without direction is weakness. He refuses to let his peace become a playground for someone else's chaos. His restraint isn't fear, it's discipline. He understands that every reaction costs energy, and not every situation deserves it. The moment people realize they can't provoke him, respect naturally replaces resistance. He doesn't need to overpower anyone, his self-control does that for him. In a world addicted to reaction, the man who stays composed becomes the one everyone unconsciously follows. Calm men are rare, and rarity always draws attention. In a world where everyone is racing to be seen, heard, and validated first, the man who moves slowly, deliberately, and with patience stands out without even trying. He isn't chasing recognition because he understands that noise fades, but presence endures. While most people are busy proving themselves, the calm man is mastering himself. His quiet confidence doesn't need to be displayed, it radiates naturally. He doesn't post about discipline, he lives it. He doesn't brag about power, he embodies it. His energy says everything without a word. When he walks into a room, people can feel it. He doesn't demand attention, attention drifts toward him because peace is magnetic in a world addicted to chaos. He doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth because real confidence doesn't shout, it whispers. It's in the way he listens instead of talking over others, the way he waits instead of rushing, the way he carries himself like time itself is on his side. That patience comes from knowing that what's meant for him will never need to be forced. A calm man's presence challenges people to slow down, to breathe, to match his pace. And women, especially, feel the pull of that energy. They can sense the difference between a man who seeks attention and a man who attracts it. His calm becomes the mystery that people can't stop thinking about. In a reactive world, he becomes the exception, the standard others aspire to reach. Because when everyone else is trying to be louder, the one who stays silent and centered wins without playing the game. That's the paradox of calm, it doesn't chase power, it becomes it. A calm man isn't calm because life is easy for him. He's calm because he's chosen purpose over emotion. He's learned that reacting to every little thing is a waste of power, that not every battle deserves his energy. His focus is bigger than the moment, he's building something that lasts. While most men are busy arguing to win approval or attention, he's working quietly on himself, his goals, his craft. That's why his calm feels different, it's not emptiness, it's direction. He knows where he's going, and that sense of purpose keeps him grounded when life tries to pull him off course. A man rooted in purpose doesn't have time to prove himself to people who won't matter in 5 years. He channels that energy into creation, not confrontation. And that's what gives his silence meaning. You can feel it when you're around him, his presence carries weight because it's tied to something deeper than ego. A woman can sense that, too. She feels the focus behind his calm, the quiet fire that drives him. He doesn't talk about his mission, he lives it, and that's what makes him unforgettable. Purpose makes a man magnetic because it gives his energy direction. He's not floating through life chasing emotions, he's anchored by something real. Even when he faces setbacks, he doesn't spiral. He adjusts, learns, and keeps moving. That discipline, that consistency, creates a calm that can't be faked. It's earned. And when you meet a man like that, you know he's different. His peace isn't passive, it's powered by vision. That's why his calm doesn't just feel strong, it feels inevitable, like everything around him eventually aligns with it. That's the quiet force of a man who's led by purpose, not emotion. Peace isn't the absence of noise or chaos, it's the control of it. A calm man understands this truth deeply. He doesn't expect life to be easy or people to always treat him fairly. He knows storms will come, emotions will rise, and challenges will test him. But his peace doesn't depend on what's happening around him, it's built on what's happening within him. He's trained his mind to stay centered when everything outside tries to pull him off balance. That's his greatest power. When he masters his inner world, the outer world loses its grip on him. No argument, rejection, or manipulation can shake him, because his foundation isn't built on approval, it's built on awareness. The calm man learns to respond instead of react. He pauses before speaking, breathes before deciding, and observes before judging. That space between emotion and reaction, that's where his peace lives. And it's what makes him untouchable. People can sense that strength. They may not understand it, but they feel it. A woman, especially, feels drawn to it, not because he's distant, but because he's stable. His calm makes her feel safe, his peace makes her feel grounded. The irony is that peace, the very thing that makes him still, is what draws people toward him the most. Everyone wants to touch what they can't disturb. In a world addicted to noise, stillness becomes magnetic. His calm presence becomes a sanctuary for others, a reminder that real power doesn't react, it remains. That's why calm men are unforgettable. They don't try to dominate the storm, they become the eye of it. No matter what the world throws their way, they stay unmoved, teaching everyone watching that peace isn't weakness, it's mastery.